We meet today on settled indigenous land, which is the traditional territory of the Chinookan people of the Wasco, Wishram, and Warm Springs, and Grand Ron tribes. Let us honor this land and its traditional native stewards, past, present, and future, and strive today to embody a commitment to cultural equity and reconciliation, ecological conservation, and sustainability. I hereby call this meeting to order at
4:01.
4:01. Tia, can you please take roll call?
Greg, Chair. Megan, Vice Chair.
Here.
Tamara, Secretary.
Here.
Jim.
Here.
Elazar.
Here.
Gisela said that she was not going to be able to attend. And Matt.
Here.
All right, minutes for the August 20th regular monthly board meeting were included in your packet. Are there any changes that board members would like to make? Seeing none. Is there a motion to accept the minutes?
So moved.
Any discussion?
Okay.
I'll second it if no one has.
All in favor?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, sorry. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, there's no opposed. The chair votes aye. On to public comment. Now is opportunity for public comment regarding a discussion item that is not on the agenda today. Is there anyone that would like to make a public comment? Visiting?
Nope.
Okay.
You were good.
Okay, cool. All right, so now we're on to the fiscal year 2025 financial audit report. Kathy and Fierce, please go ahead.
And Greg has joined at 4:03. Good to see
Oh,
you, Greg.
he is here.
Sorry, I can join for a little while. I just had a break in my regular real work board meeting stuff. Not that this isn't real work.
Sounds good.
Thank you, Megan, for running it.
Yeah, of course.
Kathy, we are ready for you guys.
Great. Fierce, you have a connection? Maybe not. Then I will go ahead. He was going to do the presentation, but he's out at a client and he is having some issues with staying connected. So thank you for having us. We're here to present your audit for June 30th, 2025. And you should have received 3 documents. One is your financial statements, which includes our independent auditor's report, as well as our report to the Secretary of State and the government auditing standards report, which will be new this year. And then that's related to the compliance work that we did associated with your single audit. You also should have received in your packet a copy of the single audit report, the federal compliance report, and that will have another auditor's report on uniform guidance in that. That's for the single audit. And then you also should have received a letter from us to those of you charged with governance that talks about the audit and various things. And we'll go over each of those. We'll start with the financial statements. And I'd like to start with page 4 of the PDF, and it would be page A in a printed copy if you have that available. And that is our independent auditor's report. And the first thing we talk about there is our opinions, right? And the opinion of we've audited the modified cash basis financial statements for your governmental activities and the major fund for the Transportation District for the year ended June 30th, 2025, as well as the notes to those related statements. And that comprises the basic financial statements. We do have an in relation to opinion as well for the supplementary information that's presented in the financial statements. In our opinion, the financial statements present the financial position of the governmental activities in the major fund as of June 30th, 2025, in accordance with the modified cash basis of accounting. And then we have a paragraph in our auditor's report that just calls out the modified cash basis of accounting is not an accounting basis that is other than generally accepted accounting principles, but it is something that is allowed by the state of Oregon. And so generally that means that you don't have the typical things like accruals. So you don't see an AR, you don't see accounts payable, you don't see capital assets, you don't, or actually, I believe we do present in your footnotes capital assets, correct? Do we have those on your, I don't believe we have them on the face of your financial statements though, right? Oh, we do.
We have them. Sorry.
Sorry
was
about
the
that.
Modification.
There he is. We do have capital assets. Typically with modified cash basis, you don't include capital assets on the face of the financial statements. But in your case, you've decided that you're going to present these. One of the things with modified cash basis is that you can kind of present whatever you feel is important to you as governance. So those are included in there. But you don't see things like accounts receivable, accounts payable, and things like that. So we have the statement of net position, which is on page 1, and you'll see that the district has about 1.4 million in cash and cash equivalents, and then you've got capital assets of 3.5 million. That went up a little bit this year because you acquired some buses, which was great, which is also the reason why you ended up having to have a single audit. There's not a lot of other changes in your footnote disclosures, just the capital assets footnote that has those additions included in it. You'll also find the supplementary information in the back has all of your budgetaries. I'd like to jump to your auditor's report that's required by Oregon state regulations, and that's on page 30 of the PDF or page 15 if you're looking at a printed copy. And then that just discusses the work that we did in association with the ORSs that apply. And there was nothing that came to our attention that would make us think that the district is not materially in compliance with all of those requirements. The last report in this financial statement document is our report on government auditing standards. And this is because we're subject to single audits. Any of the work that's done over federal compliance also falls under government auditing standards. So we have to do some additional work over compliance, and we have to do some reporting related to that. So if there were compliance findings or if there were financial statement findings, those would be reported in here. As it turns out, you had no findings to report. So that's fantastic. Any questions on the financial statements themselves? Hearing none, I will move to the federal compliance report. And so this is the report that we've issued in relation to the major program that we audited for the district, which was the assistance listing number 20.509, the formula grants for rural areas, and the tribal transit program. I swear they just keep making these titles longer, longer and longer the more that we do them. We had, in relation to your financial statements, on page 5 of that report, talks about the schedule of findings and question costs. And this is really an informative page because it talks about the programs that we audited, as well as the financial statements and what type of an opinion that we issued, which is unmodified, and then whether we found any issues with internal controls, material weaknesses, or significant deficiencies, as well as material weaknesses or significant deficiencies associated with federal awards. We're happy to report that there were none in both cases, and that if there had been findings, they would be listed below. But as you can see, there are none reported. The report that's included in that just pretty much states the same thing. It just talks about the major program that we audited and the fact that we had no findings. The next page in that is your schedule of expenditure of federal awards, and this just details the amount of monies that you received in federal grants for the year, as well as the notes to to the CFA, which is what that is called if you acronym it, and you did not elect to use the de minimis indirect cost rate, which I'm not sure that your grantor had that in the agreement for that would allow you to do that. Usually you have to let them know ahead of time that you're going to be doing that, but you did not, and so that's really the only thing in the notes to point out. Any questions on that? I know that's a new document for you guys. You haven't seen one of those for a couple of years. Okay, hearing none. We have your governance letter, and this is going to be very similar to what you received from us last year. Just talks about the significant accounting estimates, which is the depreciation that you record. Again, that's not a cash basis concept, but you've elected to include that information in your financial statements. We had no audit adjustments associated with the audit. And we just call again out that emphasis of matter related to the basis of accounting. It's always a pleasure to work with the district. Amy and Tia and everybody there are just very responsive, just great people to work with, provide all the information we need. We were able to get in and out and get things issued very quickly this year. So we were very happy with the outcome. So I'll open that up to any questions or comments or anything anybody has.
I would just like to add, Kathy, if the stiff AUP hasn't been discussed yet.
Oh, it has not. No, Fierce.
Has not? Okay. Sorry, because I really thought I was already in the meeting. I was on the wait list to go in. So for the longest time, it was like dark, it was black on my screen. Like I could not see anything. I couldn't hear anything. So sorry about that. So yeah, so the last item on the report, so and the work that we did for this year is the STIF AUP. That's the statewide transportation improvement fund. So as you know, that's one of the major revenue sources for the transportation district. And as you receive that revenue source, ODOT requires an agreed upon procedure kind of to perform certain procedures regarding the spending of those funds. And so we did issue an accountant's report regarding that one, and we did not note any exceptions on the testing that we perform. And as of the June 30, 2025.
Uh-oh. I think we lost him. Sorry about that. So that report, there was nothing in that report that needed to be reported to you all. There were no findings or exceptions noted in the work that we did related to that.
Can you reference what page that is on in the document?
That is actually in a separate report. Yes,
okay.
Correct. Yep.
I was looking.
Yep. I'm sorry about that. Yeah. I had Fierce all, teed up to do the presentation, and then we had some issues with connection earlier.
Yes, I am here in what area is this? It's in Molalla, but I don't know which is it, like central. No, it's still like North Oregon or something.
You're in Clackamas County. Yep.
But Clackamas County, I guess. So, but the connection has been pretty bad in terms of calls, and I apologize for that.
Yeah. So we concluded, Fierce. So, and
All
I
right.
just directed Joey to a different that is in a separate report. So.
All right.
Okay, so does anybody else have any questions, comments? Amy?
Emily, is there anything else that you'd like to add?
Not with Kathy and Fierce here. I was just going to go through some of the MD&A, but I don't think they have to be here for that. I'm Emily. Kathy, I haven't seen you in person, but it's nice to meet you. And we just really appreciate the partnership we've had and being able to get audited by you guys. And we love having squeaky clean audits. That's wonderful. So thank you so much.
We love squeaky clean audits too. So yep. And since the MD&A is your document, Emily is the best person to present that information. So.
Well, thank you so much, Kathy. We really appreciate you guys and all that you do.
Yep. Same thing. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you. do you still have time? Do you want me to go over the MD&A a little bit? I just thought I would touch some highlights. So she basically went through all of the reporting and was giving you all of their findings, which is that there weren't any, which is wonderful. That's exactly what she wanted in an audit, to not have any findings. So part of the financial statement, so we're going to go back up to the MD&A, which is page I, lowercase I, right near the beginning. It's right after the independent auditor's report. And so I just wanted to run through that briefly with you guys. So the highlights of the financial statements is that the district's revenues exceeded their expenditures by $397,764, which is the increase in your net position, and that you increased your revenue by 12% compared to the prior year. So you can read through the rest of them. I tried to kind of call out the best high points of the district's financial statements, but I think for me, the most useful report is on page II. Reports, I should say, they're two comparative tables. One is a condensed statement of net position. So it compares your assets and liabilities from the prior audit, because, June 30, 2024, with the current audit, June 30, 2025. And then it also shows you the increases and decreases. So you can see your cash went down, your capital assets went up, and most of that is what makes the difference in your net position by the end of the year, is that you have less cash and more assets. And then down below, your comparative statement of activity, again, is year to year. So you can see for June 30, 2024 to June 30, 2025, and all the differences, everything's very stable through everything. So the main differences are that your state grants, you increased your state grants quite a bit. Again, most of that had to do with the land and vehicle purchases. And then your expenditures, your materials and services went up with some of your contract spending, and you guys paid for a new tracking software. I'm not coming up with the right words for it. Amy?
Dispatch software.
Yeah, there it is. Dispatch software, which was a pretty big chunk this year. But that again goes for 3 years. So that's not going to be a recurrent expense for a while. And then moving on to the next page, III, which is your change in fund balance. Hold on just a second. Your budget. So this is a comparison to your budget. So for you guys, the most important thing, right, that you all care about is your budget, and whether you guys stayed in budget and how much you have left at the end of last year to now spend in the current year. And so that's what is going to be reported on page III. So you can see that your revenue was less than you anticipated, but your expenses were also less than you anticipated. So for your total administrative expenses, you were under budget by $316,000, and your total operating expenses, you were under budget by $2.8 million. Most of that, of course, had to do with you guys were expecting some big capital projects that didn't end up taking place in this last year, and hopefully they will in the coming years. But overall, you're under budget. You did change your net position on a budgetary basis by a little. You dropped your net position by $222,000. So that means you basically have less fund balance at the beginning of this year as you did compared to the ending fund balance of last year. And that's because it doesn't include capital assets. So I just ran through everything really briefly. I'm not sure if you guys have any questions, or if you other comments or things you want me to go over.
Sorry, what was, I thought we did buy it. I don't get it.
No, we did buy it.
Yeah,
We haven't received the reimbursement for it, but we expended.
okay,
it.
got it.
Yeah.
Wait, are you talking about the land?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the main reason why your net change in fund balance on that page III has gone down, is because you spent the money, but you didn't get reimbursed for it yet. So excluding that, you guys actually were pretty even for the year.
That's pretty much the exact amount that we were out of pocket. That's the full 222,669 is what we spent on that without being reimbursed?
Not
Yes,
quite.
we were supposed to get 190K of that, and then we
We had
We
to
knew
spend
that
some
there-
down from our,
Yeah.
for reserves.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt.
No, you're great. Yeah, I would love any other questions. I know I ran through things pretty quickly, but overall, I know I said this in our last meeting or the last meeting I attended where I sort of did the unaudited overview of last year's financials, was that everything looked really good and the district is in a really good spot. So
I'm sorry, I'm still confused.
You're fine.
Our budgeted expenditure was 6.7 or 6.8 million, but we only spent 3.6. What did we not spend money on?
So that was for the electric buses.
Oh, okay.
We had included the electric buses
And
and also the development of the park and ride into the bus barn and maintenance facility.
Okay,
So all of those were included in the budget, but we didn't spend those.
okay. So it has nothing to do with this. It's like, yeah,
There is some that is included in that,
yeah.
and it's part of it, but there is other in there too.
Okay.
And so is it fair to say that we'll have a similar budgeted expenditure for next year as just to preserve that spending authority for whenever it occurs?
Yep.
Essentially. Okay.
Okay. Any other questions? Well, thank you, Emily. Are
yeah,
you staying on?
thanks guys. And we'll see you next month for the first quarter. So
Thank you, Emily.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Emily. Hi, Emily.
Thank you.
All right, so we're on to the monthly financial report with Tia.
Yes, so real quick, in your board materials, I included the financial reports for last month. Does anybody have any questions regarding those?
This page is, sorry.
Yeah, where is this in the back?
It's a lot. So it is page
62.
Thank you, it wasn't quite there yet. Okay.
Questions on that? I had questions on the bill list, just quickly, if we're onto that.
Yeah, let's do it.
Just the Sasquatch shuttle. I mean, it's like 43 grand.
Yes.
Is that, could you just elaborate a bit on that?
So that is who we contracted to do the Multnomah Falls Transportation Ambassador Program.
Right.
Um,
Is that our share of the entirety of this year's cost, or is that?
We actually didn't pay for any of that, right?
Oh.
That was all covered through either ODOT, gosh, I forget, or Mount Hood and Experience.
the Mountain Experience, the Gorge.
Yes, that as well as the Forest Service.
Okay. So that's why we had that
We were the pass-through agency there.
6,800 from the Forest Service on our AR aging summary.
So that one was actually for Dog Mountain.
Oh,
We'll
okay.
have another one for the Forest Service come in within probably the next month.
Okay, so my other question related to that was, is our outstanding with Stevenson and Skamania, is that Dog Mountain then? Okay, sorry, it's just, I was just curious.
Yep, those are good questions.
Some larger amounts.
Yep.
Anybody else? Okay. Thank you, Tia. All right, on to Amy with resolution action items. There's a lot.
Hey, we've been busy. It's actually really exciting because we've kind of got to the point where we're able to wrap up several projects.
Oh, yeah.
So, the first one being the proposed union contract. We've been working with the union, which is the Amalgamated Transit Union, since spring of 2025, who represents our drivers on the new collective bargaining agreement. And it will be actually backdated if the board moves forward with approving the CBA that is included in the meeting materials. We included, so in the meeting materials, there was a red line copy of that CBA. It has been approved by the union. We did our best to kind of summarize the changes that were made. There was several minor language changes, and then there were some more significant changes or additions to the contract itself. One of them being the leaves of absence, subcontracting, where we removed a paragraph to streamline the process of labor management meetings if subcontracting is recommended. Article 9, which is seniority, there's the loss of seniority was simplified to reduce confusion. And then Article 13 was an entirely new article that addresses technology use and the rights of employees and the employer. And then in Article 14, we added some additional language regarding fill-in substitute employee requirements. And Article 17 with wages. So that's, that was the big nugget. So it includes wage rate increases where 3.5% effective July 1, 2025. So that would, if approved, be backdated, and 2.5% on their anniversary every, so for 2025, that'd be a 6% increase total. And then every year after that, it was a total of a 5% increase, 2.5% every July 1st, and 2.5% on their anniversary. Because I know it's a big nugget. Does anybody have any questions on that one?
Can you summarize the technology bit?
Sure. So the technology bit is, it's just become a, it wasn't included in our old contract, but with all the increase of different technology out there, we did feel it was important to add it. It just clarifies like when we can review footage on our buses and on the facility itself, meaning that we need to have a report or some reason as to why we're reviewing the footage and not just, looking at it to look at it. And as that can be perceived as phishing. Also then it clarifies when we can use it, making sure that we can use it to double check that employees are driving the routes and not speeding and following policies.
Okay.
And we had taken out the technology paragraph in health and safety because it had all been addressed in the new Article 13.
Okay.
Um,
Oh, yeah. Okay. This is the big part of it then.
yeah,
Yeah, sorry.
very good. Any other questions on wage rate increases?
So what, at one point, wasn't it going to be indexed to CPI or a portion of it, or is that the part that was changed to more flat increases?
Yeah, so that was for the office staff. The
Oh,
office
right.
staff is
Okay,
CPI, and then drivers would not be, it'd be a flat increase. Mhm. And then there's also some pay differential increases in there too. The Gorge to Mountain would go from an additional $1 to $3 per hour. And then the route trainer also go from $1 to $3 per hour. And the purpose of the Gorge to Mountain one is to reflect that our drivers are, when they do drive that route, they are doing a lot more work. They're chaining on a really bad day at least 6 times. And meaning chaining and unchaining, total 6, if not more. They're driving in hazardous conditions, and it really does require additional skill. Any additional questions on that?
Yes, so I'm seeing the retroactive pay raise. Is that what you mean?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So if this is approved by the board, Tia has created a great little spreadsheet that will make sure that the back pay is appropriate based on the employee, and then they would be paid on the next pay period, which is not this Friday, but 2 Fridays from Friday.
Can you remind me how we budgeted for that, and does that have much of a negative impact on this year's
Yep.
budget?
So that's a really good question. So what we had to do in order to do this is we removed a additional part-time position that I put in the budget to kind of help us address PTO requests. So I was very transparent with the union that in order to get that 3.5 increase effective July 1, that would mean that we would have to remove that additional, one of the additional part-time positions I had put in there.
Okay.
So if this is all doable within her budget.
And that is probably more limiting to them because they can't do shift changes as much as they would like.
Well, it has the potential for impacting how many PTO requests we can approve during the busy winter months.
Okay.
That's where it could potentially. Yeah. And that being said,
They're all trade-offs, right?
yeah, I'll trade offs.
Right. Are there any other questions? And so we're looking for a motion to approve the union contract.
Yes, I'm sorry, there is one other piece in there
Okay.
that I want to make sure I'm highlighting. The PTO rollover, so the PTO allowed to roll over to was 200 and it increased to 250 hours.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, any additional questions? And we are looking for approval or well, a review on the board if they would like to. They do not have to approve this. This is your choice. But the staff recommendation is that you approve it.
So, Amy, are you any trepidations about this going forward with this contract for you and looking at how it will affect the program?
No. I think just the biggest concern is I do want to make sure that we can approve PTOs. So I had added that additional part-time position in there to make sure that we could approve PTO requests in the busy winter months. And so I think it'll, we'll just kind of have to see how that shakes out. But there's a lot of variables that go into that. We have a really stellar team of drivers. And we've really worked on all of our training processes and onboarding of staff and have really worked on that Gorge to Mountain service in general and doing what we can to ensure it's a safe service, but also efficient and works for employees and riders. So I think there's a lot of variables to ensuring that we can approve PTO requests. And so I think we're the past couple of years, we've just been trying different methods to see what works. And so I think we'll just need to see how this goes.
Can you consider winter busier than now, like the more busy season?
I do.
Wow, okay.
And the reason why is just the Gorge to Mountain is a lot of service. We're adding a lot of service in a very short amount of time. And it also extends our hours. And a lot of people want to go on vacation and go to the holidays and see their people. So it ends up just being a little bit, we try to, it just ends up being a little more busy.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any way to increase funding for the Gorge to Mountain?
Well, that is going to be the next thing that we're working on for the next 3 years, because the funding, as you know, assuming that the scope change that I submitted for the flat funding is approved, we have funding for the next 3 years. After that time period, I have been told that it is unlikely that transportation services will be funded by this grant award program in the future. So we're gonna need to figure out how we fund this service moving forward. So yes, Tamara, I think that is something we have to figure out. We'll have to, I think, figure out what is the ideal need and for that service, meaning do we need to continue to figure out how we can connect the Gorges Mountain service with government camp? Do we need to add more service? When do we need to add the more service? I think there's a lot of questions of how we want to see that service grow in the future.
Thank you.
I
Yeah,
mean, just as a rider, the percentage of free youth passes on that Gorges Mountain Express is like probably the biggest. It's like 90% are like kids
mhm.
that get a free pass anyway. So feels like the grant is funding, which is a great program, like funding youth to be able to go to the mountain. So
Greg?
Well, thanks for calling on me. As far as the union contract goes, there's no step provisions for non-CDL drivers. They're just on an annual basis. Did we ever have that in the past, or was that excluded, or you're just trying to push them into getting their CDL after being a driver for a while?
Yeah, so in their contract, they have 6 months to get their CDL, or their
Okay.
Class B CDL.
Okay,
And so that's
thank you.
why we don't have any steps after the initial.
And nice work on getting the first year at that percentage, 3.5, and then 2.5 on the remaining years. I know they wanted more than that, but we didn't have the funds to be able to make that happen.
right. I don't know how everybody feels about it, but their emotion.
Move to approve the new collective bargaining agreement. That's sufficient as a motion.
I'll second that.
Discussion? Right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, chair votes aye. Motion passes. All right, here.
Thank you, sorry, I lost myself in my own packet. All right, employee. Yeah, thank you. All right, actually, I'm gonna let Tia take this away.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you guys were talking about the contract. Like that.
Oh,
So included in your packets is a red line copy of the employee handbook. The last time that the employee handbook was brought to the board as a whole for approval was in 2023. Since then, there have been some policies that have been approved by the board, as well as some additional things working through not only the CBA, but just in review, working with our HR consultants that we thought would be appropriate to add. I have identified those areas so you didn't have to read through the entire thing. I highlighted the areas that were updated. After reviewing those, does anybody have any questions, or is there any area that you'd like me to provide more detail on? No questions? Okay.
I assume the revisions were approved by our attorneys for the language changes, or is that something you guys just made changes to?
Yeah, no, so that was approved by our HR consultant, and then the ones that were applicable to the labor piece were approved by the labor attorneys.
Okay.
Through the union contract process.
Okay. Thank you.
Good question.
Okay. I need a motion.
I move to approve the handbook as presented.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion passes. All right, ADA.
All right, that's me again.
What page are we on?
Do you have that pulled up quick, Amy? I'm saying that
I'm
right
so-
now.
there's
There's
so
so
many
many pages.
Um,
Oh, you know what? There's bookmarks. Okay. ADA. 195.
thank you.
I'm way off. Okay, so also included is a red line version of our ADA complimentary paratransit plan. With the recent route changes that have occurred and the extension of our dial-a-ride, we updated the ADA complimentary paratransit plan to align with that. It was sent to ODOT to review, and everything seems to be in line. Does anybody have any questions on those areas that I also identified the areas and pages that were updated?
Yeah, I think that really the biggest thing is this, we removed the deviated fixed route, since Lever Valley is no longer a deviated fixed route, and the same day request allowance. And this also helped us get ready for our compliance audit that we have in January, which we have every 3 years. It's just how it goes. So it's also by
Getting ahead of the game.
yes, exactly.
So no questions?
Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve the updated ADA paratransit plan.
I'll second.
All right, any discussion? I don't think so. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, chair votes aye, motion passes. Last one.
Landscaping. Okay, in July, if you guys remember, I brought to the board a contract for our landscaping services with Gorgeous Lawn Care that was approved to move forward. However, after further conversation with them, they just did not have the capacity to complete that contract, so they had declined. We had 2 additional responses with Gorgeous Lawn Care. So we contacted the remaining 2 to ensure that they were still interested after the time had passed. And they were, after reviewing the 2 proposals, the next in line that was most cost effective and had the experience was Crystal Green's Landscape. However, also in between that time waiting for a response from them, because they did have some changes internally, we needed services out here because it was getting a little overgrown and not so pretty. So we contacted our prior landscaping contractor and again discussed the process of submitting a proposal so they could be in the running if they were interested. They stated that they were, however, they did not turn it in after multiple times contacted them. So staff has decided to, after review, bring to the board moving forward with Crystal Green's Landscape. They have been very responsive anytime we've made contact with them, and we feel that they have the ability to fulfill the needs that we're looking for.
They also have some pretty stellar references. They do the libraries grounds and some other grounds within town. So
So my only thing is I feel like I'm Kate Blanchett. I don't know if you've ever seen her Instagram rants about, what do you call them? Leaf blowers. I don't understand them, like why they're needed. And I know this is not something for now, but like, I'm just looking at this itemized list. It's like, do we really need to blow sidewalks in the middle of the summer when it's like the air quality is disgusting already? Can they like not spray wash them? Because our plants need water anyway. But anyway, it's just like something for the future.
yeah, that's something we can look into.
Okay, cool.
Had one just random question, just because I was looking at their kind of promotional material you had in on snow. And I did not see that they are providing us any snow removal, and I was just curious what we do about snow.
So we have another provider
Okay.
that does our snow removal.
Okay.
And it has worked out well.
And sidewalks and stuff.
Yeah, well, the sidewalks, we actually do ourselves. Yeah,
Do you have snow blower?
we do.
Okay, good, all right.
They use
Yeah.
leaf blowers.
Oh my God, for the love of God. Actually, that might be effective.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so we have
It's just the noise and the, like the electric ones are better. But the noise, issue and then in the middle of the summer when it's so, yeah, I'm like, what are we doing?
no, I can understand that. And no, we have a contractor who does the plowing of our lots.
Okay.
And then we do the sidewalks.
I'll make the motion to approve the landscaping contract as presented.
Second that.
All right, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, chair votes aye, motion passes. On to Jeff for the operations and managers report. Oh my
And
God.
I do apologize. I want to make sure I was here for all the voting type stuff, but I do need to step away for my other stuff, but
Thank you, Greg.
thank you.
Greg.
Appreciate it. Okay. Take care.
Cool. Okay, operations report. Overall safety score, we went up to a 99, which is great. We had a reduction in speeding and one less crash than last month. So yep, still high praise to our drivers, like Amy pointed out. We have a really great team. People driving safe right now. I guess we've been saying that every month for a while. It's awesome. Fuel costs went up by 34%. We're back into the normal range for around 40 cents per mile. Let's see, our on-time performance for dial ride is at 93.74%, which is slightly down, but still a good zone. Vehicle hours driven 1,239, vehicle miles driven 34,593. Formal customer complaints 6, customer incidents 4. Let's go over those. The customer and family were exiting the city bus when the door accidentally closed on the child. There were no injuries. I reviewed the video of that. The driver was very apologetic, and it was, an accidental situation. A passenger placed their bike in a wide tire rack, and when the bus bounced, the bike partially fell off. They were told that they needed to place it in the racks meant for a smaller tire. Since then, we've done some research on it's not actually the thickness, the width of the tires, but it's actually has to do with the diameter of the tires that goes in our fat tire trays. Passenger complained about the temperature in the city bus. This occurred on a very hot day when the buses were struggling to keep cool. Sometimes it's when, we're over 90. It's hard to, the ACs can only do so much. A business owner called to complain about drunk people at a stop in front of his business. Our staff encouraged him to call the police. Customer complained about a driver instructing her to secure a scooter in front of the bus. She felt discriminated upon as she thought other people were getting different rules applied. This was investigated and addressed appropriately. a business owner called about trash in 2 parking spots being removed for the bus stop in front of the business due to the recent route changes. Another rider reported an injury while riding the bus. When the bus hit the curb, issue was forwarded to our insurance company for review. Customer incidents, we had a frequent problem. Passengers verbally abusive, was yelling at our drivers and office staff in several separate incidents. An out of control passenger was threatening others, and the driver on the CGE route, the internal code was used, and police came to Gateway Transit Center to arrest him, which it's a pretty intense scenario, but it's the second time we've used our internal code, and it's really cool to see our team come together and act quickly and when they hear those words over the radio. The Hood River City bus was leaving the Walmart parking lot with a bike in the front rack with a gust of wind blew a sign on the fence, catching the bike and flipped it out of the rack.
Jesus.
Yeah,
Like a fluke.
yeah, so I don't know if you guys were down there at all when they had the big fences, because I had another issue, I think, later in the week with there's like these black plastic streamers that were catching in the wind off of their fences. I think there was like visit things to like make it so you can't see. So these streamers ripping around. But anyways, I got a hold of Walmart and they went out and tied them all down so they weren't catching our buses and other vehicles. Cool. New vehicle update. We just got finalization on the graphics on the 2 new cutaways and the 1 new Ford Transit bus that's designed similar to a cutaway. They're likely going to get delivered October, early November. Yeah, so they're with Northwest Bus Sales, and we are doing the final things like the radios and the wraps and cameras and all the internal things, and then we approve them, and then hopefully they get delivered when they say they're going to be delivered. CGE time changes. Let's see, September 29th, we're gonna change the CGE times slightly. We're not changing the beginning and the end of the trips. It's basically the same time window. There's been a lot of problems with a few connections because of delays on I-84, and then I kept getting these complaints of we're sitting at Multnomah Falls, and so originally that buffer for Multnomah Falls was designed for the Ainsworth turnaround, and I think we concluded that it's better to just, when we do that turnaround in the summer, we just are running late and take that 5 minutes and put it at the end of the route instead, so that our buses can get to CAT sooner and have a better chance at making transfers to Link and MAT. So our departure times should all be the same with the exception of Multnomah Falls. It shaved 5 minutes off of that, and then 3 minutes off of Columbia, 2 minutes off Columbia Markets to save. So if we don't have passengers, our buses aren't sitting at those stops. In addition to that, going west, it shaved off about 3 minutes from the Troutvale stop, and similar scenarios just to prevent our buses from pulling over. It's not a very complete bus stop, and it's literally rough terrain for the buses. So if we don't have passengers and we don't have to stop, it allows it to be a touch and go where we can proceed instead of have to pull over and drive our buses through rougher terrain.
Speaking of that really quickly, on the way home on Sunday night, the last run, we didn't stop at Multnomah, and I don't know if that was
On the way back to CAT on the last run, yeah, and the last lap going to Hood River, we don't stop at Multnomah Falls, and then on the first run,
okay,
going to
got it.
Yeah,
Okay.
we don't
I
stop.
don't know why I never not known that. Okay, sorry.
I mean, there were a few times where it was on the schedule at some point or something that we took away. I don't remember what year, but
Okay.
yeah.
Last year, I think.
I was like, how does he know that somebody's not there? Okay, but anyway, I didn't know it was like a pre-planned thing.
Yep.
Cool.
Jeff, on the safety scores, to go back just a minute, Was the severe speeding really 0.7? Seems pretty high relative to what we did previously.
I can double check it real quick.
I'm just curious, because I mean, it just seems like,
Yeah.
in terms of like a
Yeah.
multiple.
And then if our safe, that would have like increased our safety score and it didn't, so it could be a typo. Yeah, maybe I'll check it after the report. I can let you know. Okay, employee of the month is Michael Gorton. Michael is one of our new employees who has quickly proven himself to be an outstanding team member. He consistently goes above and beyond his assigned duties, whether it be contributing thoughtful ideas to improve our systems, stepping in to help maintain a clean and safe workplace, or working with exceptional efficiency. Michael is flexible with his shifts, approaches every task with a positive attitude, and demonstrates strong commitment to the success of the team.
He's so nice.
Yeah, he's a cool dude.
Mhm.
Okay, on to ridership. So dial ride and continues to increase. We went up to 550 passengers. You know, it's again, as that's happening, Upper Valley is also going down in ridership as those deviations are generally moving to the Upper Valley, and we have expanded our dial ride service for this new bid that started on the 13th. We actually in September, we might even see a larger uptick as we added about another additional 40 minutes on the dial ride. It's just the way the route planning ended up. So it's nice to have that extra time. We are down since last year overall, but as far as numbers go, as far as ridership goes, but the boardings per hour is up to almost 7 because we were running about 200 less hours than we had been in the past. Cool. Any questions? Okay, well, I think that'll conclude my report.
To Amy. Wonderful, thank you. So the first item is the special legislative session update. So the intent is to update the board on the special legislative session that began on August 29th and is discussing emergency transportation funding bill. There's no action required of the board at this time unless to advocate as you feel appropriate. So the proposed bill that Governor Kotek brought to the special legislative session included a 0.01% increase for transit and other tax increases that will assist with the budget shortfall with ODOT counties and cities that they're facing. The proposed bill was amended in the State House and made it so that the current version will sunset or expire on January 1st, 2028. So the funds, the STIF funds would be doubled for us for about 2 years, and then it would go back to what it currently is right now. Megan and I went to the public hearing, so thank you for that. And we were able to speak and provide our testimony. Yep, barely. We kind of at the
Frantically
end.
raising my hand.
But that was a very good experience, and I'm glad we were able to be there. The special session was supposed to resume today. However, it's been extended for another 2 weeks. I believe it's September 27th. I believe is the date now that it will resume again. So we are just patiently waiting to see what happens. The impact of the STIF funds sunsetting in January 1st, 2028, I think it's significant. Internally, we're working on if these funds were passed, what that means, how we should move forward with these funds available. Likely, I think it's going to give us the opportunity to move forward with these capital projects that we have, and then also do some small service increases with our dial ride and potentially the Upper Valley. But I'm really hesitant to create too many service enhancements because there's no long-term sustainable funding. So my current thinking is that if this funds are passed, we focus on those capital projects that will allow us to hopefully, that we've been working on for a long time and finish those. Any questions on that? Okay. The second thing on my report is an update for our current route changes that happened on the Hood River City and the Upper Valley route. My intent is to update the board on feedback received since the changes have been made, which was September 13th. There is no action required at this time. So for the Hood River City route, stops were added and several were relocated for a more streamlined route that has reduced the lap time to a 35 to 40 minute lap time. It was originally 45 minutes every single time. And this has allowed us to add 2.5 extra laps in the same time period. So that's pretty cool. There's still some street painting that needs to be done at the May and 18th bus stop to reduce bus bike conflict. And we're working with Megan as well as the city to make sure it's really clear where the bikes need to yield to the bus in case they're letting off passengers or deboarding or boarding a wheelchair passenger. So the next step that we are going to be doing on the city route is to focus on permanent signage and bus stop facilities. And I imagine that'll take us 1 to 2 years because there's a significant NEPA process required for that. But that is the next step for those services, or for that service. The Upper Valley route has officially been transitioned to a fixed route, leaving it, hopefully making it more dependable and something that we can increase the ridership on. So far, we've gotten lots of positive feedback on both the Hood River changes and the Upper Valley route changes. For the Upper Valley route, the next step is going to be adding additional stops as they get approved through ODOT or the county. I do want the board to know that we have received some complaints due to the bus no longer going into the Walmart and Safeway parking lots. This is something that we knew that would happen. Dial-a-ride and paratransit options have been explained and encouraged those riders to use those options instead.
What's the synopsis of the complaint?
Well, I think they're the big issue is that some people find it hard to schedule dial-a-rides, and meaning they just planning that far in advance is difficult, and so they find the fixed routes to be much more convenient.
Yeah.
And since the fixed route doesn't go directly to the door of Walmart or Safeway, it now makes it harder for people with mobility challenges to do
Okay.
that.
So yeah,
So-
I was figuring it was a mobility
Yeah.
issue.
It was mobility issues.
Okay. Right.
Thus, this has made more of a demand on our dial-a-ride, so we are continuing to just observe and review and make sure that anyone who can use the fixed route, we're giving them the tools to know how to use the fixed route and feel comfortable with the fixed route instead of using the dial-a-ride. Any questions on those changes? All right. Well, that concludes my report.
Great. I'll be trying the teaching at Mid Valley and Y East for the next couple weeks. So if I get lazy and don't want to bike, I'll be trying out this new route. I'm excited
Yeah,
if
let
it
us
works.
know. Really intrigued to hear how it goes. We do deviate, or not deviate, sorry, that's not the right word. We go by the Y East Middle School now on the route.
Yeah.
So people just need to flag it, and eventually our hope is to get a bus stop as you
Yeah.
closer to it.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, it's in our Safe Routes to School plan.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, is there any discussion items? I have one really quick. It's regarding the Safe Routes to School plan for the county. It's 113 pages because it includes 6 schools in the county. And I think almost like 100 infrastructure recommendations. I think Odell has the bulk of them for both those schools, but also the joint West Side and Hood River High School, Hood River Valley High School is a big one. But I encourage everybody to do public comment on those. It's a I can send it out after the board meeting, but it's based on what your interest, which school you're interested in. But yeah, they're just the county schools. City plan is already passed and but yeah,
And when does that do?
September 28th.
Okay.
Yes, I'll send that an email too. But yeah, it's a big deal for being able to fund infrastructure, safe infrastructure for the kids, especially for I mean, I'm not trying to be biased, but Odell needs some love. Yeah, that's all I have. Okay. Anybody else? Any events? All right, well, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll move to adjourn. I'm
Second.
the motion guy today.
All right, Tamara seconds. Meeting is adjourned at 5:06. Thank y'all. Sorry, I was literally running here.
Well, you're in a tight meeting there, Megan, so.